Hello guys, welcome back to our Universal Expedition. So if you are new to our channel, please subscribe our channel, click on the bell icon and don't forget to like this video. As humans, there are people who still believe in gods and there are people who don't believe in gods. Likewise, there are people who believe in mythical creatures too. So this is going to be a series of video in which I'm going to tell about mythical creatures. In each and every video I'm going to So in this video I'm going to tell you about vampires. A vampire is a creature who drinks blood from the living livestock. So the first vampires were actually known as revenants. So who are revenants? Revenants are a person who have done bad, terrible evil deeds during their lifetime, and after their death they have been brought back to life. Or they have some unfinished business and they have brought back to life. So these vampires have some special skills too, and they are like immortals. They are immortal. They can live for a very long period of time. They are immortals, and they have superhuman strength. And they are much stronger and much more faster than normal humans. And they have fangs. Normally, the vampires have the fangs. Using the fangs only, they drink blood or they transform a person to a vampire. And fourth one, and another one is they can transform, like the Count Dracula. If you know the Count Dracula, he can transform into a bat, and like that, the vampire can change into another form, into another person or another animal, mostly into bats. So the original vampires were thought to be have like bloated in shape, like the early stages of a decaying corpse. Early stages of decaying corpse. They are much pale and they look mostly in pale and sometimes half decayed. Early stages of decay. Every culture there is a reference about the vampire. Now the name vampire is from the European culture, but in other cultures they have different kinds of names. For example, if you took Hebrew mythology, in Hebrew mythology, the story of Lilith and the Asteris. So Asteris and Lilith are they are two names. Like the vampires, they have Lilith and Asteris in Hebrew mythology. So Lilith is a female demon that prey on the blood of babies, young children and pregnant women. She is known to have a tremendous bloodlust. So that's Lilith. And the second one is Asteris. Asteris is also a female demon who suck blood of humans to sustain themselves. However, known to prey on men that are vulnerable to sexual temptation. So those who weak, please be careful. So in Greek mythology, there is Ambrogio, a mortal man who had the grave misfortune of desiring the same woman as the sun god Apollo and was transformed into what many consider to be a vampire. Ambrogio was known to be a mortal man who unfortunately turned into a vampire, and he is known to be the first one, I think so. And in Greek mythology, there's another one, I think Miniadis is the correct one. Three sisters refused to worship Dionysus, turned into a bat by Hermes. So the three sisters who were told to worship Dionysus, they didn't obey it. So Hermes turned them into a bat. The three of them were changed into a bat. So in Latin America, there are chupacabra. Chupacabra attack and drink blood of livestock, have bat-like features. They have like bat-like features. And there is another one, Mayan, they have a bat god named Kamazots. Kamazots is a bat god in Mayan culture. So if you took Hindu culture, there is Vedara, which is also a vampire entity. So the literature is one of the thing which credit goes to literature which made the vampire more famous. Like there are many different variations of vampire tales. It wasn't until the early 1800s that vampire legends could be clearly separated from the Lebanon legends. So in 1819, a man named John Polidori published a novel named The Vampire. Vampyre. Pyre. If you ever got a chance to read that book, please read it and see how was the book. Redefine how we view the vampire legend today. Transform vampire into a charming beast of the night. The new perspective on vampire captivated audiences and only served to make the creature more terrifying. The Vampire was the first work that set bar for the modern day vampire, but unfortunately it wasn't remembered in history. So this was the first book ever published about vampire, and this book didn't get much more attention, but this was the first book ever published. The most of them believe that Bram Stoker's Dracula was the first novel about the vampires, but no, it wasn't. Before that, John Polidori written a book on the vampire. So they didn't give recognition for this. I don't know why. So if you ever get the chance to read that, please read and say how was it. So second place, the second Bram Stoker's Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula was quickly popularized and became the most famous vampire in history. It was not released until 1897. Many of the Stoker's ideas came from the original one, the vampire, John Polidori's vampire. So from the John Polidori's vampire only, he took many of the references and many of the ideas, and he created the Dracula. So there are many other, there are some other writers too. I named them. You can, if you can check them, it's fine. Stephanie Meyer and Annie Rice, Stephen King, and there are many more others who have written about the vampires too. So we are going to come from the early legends, how they told how a person turned into a vampire, and to this modern time, still now modern beliefs, how the person is believed to be turned into a vampire. So we can see from early stages to now. So in early cultures, people who died after leading evil lives and people who had refused to accept religion would come back as an evil entity like vampires. So those who were called, those who were remembered as doing evil things, they were thought to be come back as vampires. So, and the second one, those who practiced witchcraft were directly tied to evil nature. So those who practiced witchcraft at earlier days, they were told to be brought back to life as vampires too. So the third one, after the spirit had left the body, a new host had the opportunity to use the body to interact with the living world. Bodies which were not properly guarded before buried, bodies that hadn't been given proper funeral rites. Evil spirits would come back as a vampire and attack the living. So this is like a ghost story. So if you know the ghost story, if a body is possessing the body by a ghost, like that only they believed as vampires too. After body is kept, if not given the correct funeral rites, or if it wasn't guarded properly, that entity could possess the body, and that body would turn into a vampire. So now we want to the fourth one. A wild animal that a wild animal could somehow curse a body that was not guarded by jumping over the corpse, by jumping over the body, especially a dog or cat. It was thought that the corpse would immediately turn into a vampire the following night. So if uh, some dead body is there, so if it wasn't guarded correctly and a dog or cat cross jump over that body will be turned into a vampire. So this is also what they believed. So another one, during the Black Plague, many uneducated people believed that the plague was by vampires that came back at night and infected the remaining healthy. So in the Black Plague, that was a pestis. That was a bacteria which caused that plague. Most of them believed, the who believed in mostly in religion, they what they told was this was caused by a demon or a vampire, like that creatures only done that, and most of them believed it. So if you want to see more about Black Plague, I have done a video about this. I put the link in the description so you can check that video. So, because many victims of the plague were often left with blood stains around their mouths. Yes, most of the time they died by the plague, by the black death, and most of their blood will be come out from their mouth and from the other parts of the body. So it was believed that they have turned into a vampire. So next one, a body that had a wound that hadn't been treated by boiling water was vulnerable to becoming a vampire. So a person who has been whose wound hasn't been treated well will be turned into a vampire. So in now modern times, if you took modern times, it was believed that if a vampire bit another person, if now there's a vampire, now it bit me in my neck or in any other places, if it just drank the blood for little and it let me live alive, if it let me out, that means now I will turn into a vampire. Now it bit me and it didn't kill me, it left me and it went, that means now I will be turning into a vampire. So now there's another way, in a modern way. If my somewhere in my body there is a cut open and the flesh wound is there, flesh wound with the blood is coming out. Now the vampire's blood and my blood contracted with which contracted would turn me into a vampire. So a vampire's blood and my blood, when they contracted together, that means now I'm a healthy person. Now that's a vampire. Now its blood contacted with my blood, I will turn into a vampire. So that was also believed to turn into a person to that was also caused a person to turn into a vampire. So if we check in our history, there are many people who are considered to be the vampires, who are real life vampires. They are considered as they are the vampires. Now I'm going to tell you about the two persons who are most of them consider them as a vampire. But it's your choice whether you are believing them as a vampire or a normal person. So first one is go to the Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler, a powerful man who lived in Valencia, Romania. Known for his furious brutality, he is enjoying impaling his enemies on stakes and letting them die slowly. There is also rumors that he enjoyed eating blood that had been dipped to the blood of his victims. That means he will take the blood, dip on their, he'll take the bread, dip on their blood, and he will eat it. Uh, I don't know how does it taste. So second one go to the second round. The second person who is thought to be a vampire is Countess Elizabeth Báthory. She was born in Hungary in year 1560 and died in 1614. She was known to have the blood of many victims on her hands. She would bite their flesh as a form of torture. She would bathe in their blood as a beauty treatment. What the science say about these vampires? So porphyria, first one is porphyria. Porphyria is a medical condition which causes sensitivity to light and those with reddish brown teeth mistaken for the blood of a human victim. So porphyria is a medical condition which is they are sensitive to light and they have a reddish brown teeth and they are thought to be vampires. People believe that that is a medical condition. So second one is Hemeralophia. For patients that suffer from day blindness, individuals will only be able to move about at night. Like the night blindness is people who can have the visions on daytime, at the night they will be blind. Like that, they have a day blindness too. A hemeralophia. Hemeralophia means they can see the world or they can have their eyesight back only during the night time, and they will walk around during the night time and they are mistakenly thought to be a vampire. So the third kind of disease is hem- hematodispia, thirst for blood with sexual activities. So this is also a medical condition. So fourth one, bat carrying rabies affecting humans causes insomnia, hypersexuality, and violent behaviors too. So this is also of course maybe rabies from the bat. And there another one, fifth one, premature burials. Premature burials, people were declared dead by mistakenly. So if some at earlier days they were thought, earlier days, now modern days also it happens sometimes, it rarely happens. That means if a person is mistakenly thought to be dead but they are not actually dead, they have some kind of deep coma or deep sleep, something like that, and they will waken up later and they are thought to be vampires too. So another one, causes move or sit up whenever the coffin lid was open. This happens because of a natural decaying process. So during this decaying process, what happened was our body parts, our bodies they move. So when they open the coffin lid, uh, the corpses move. So what they think was this corpse is still alive and it's a turn into a vampire. And another one, still a group of people who believe that they are vampires. So in modern times there are people who believe that they are vampires, and their strange communities can be found in online. Drink small amounts of blood from willing donors to private feeding rituals done for reasons purely related to health. Regular blood intake causes hemochromatosis, iron overdose, damaging nerve system and liver. So this, if you're drinking blood, it's not a good thing. It affects you like overdose of iron. So and there's coffins buried in winter. So coffins that are buried in winter, uh, they have they decay. The body decays very slowly, decompose. They, so if you buried a corpse during the winter time, so their corpse is mostly protected by the winter snows, and their body is kept for long. They start to decay for a very long period of time. So if you open it, their body will be sometimes in a position of early stages of decay. So most of them believe that this person is a vampire, and they do many kind of things to stop them. So if you have to have a chance, if you ever met a vampire in real life and it came to attack you, there are some ways which they have been told in the folklores. So folklores and in some literatures, in some books too. So you're going to see how to stop them. Leaving a bag of seeds in outdoors for the vampire to count. That would ensure that they would be trapped there until the sunrise. Because the vampire could not stand the sun, it would be killed. So a vampire cannot they are allergic to a sunlight. So if the sunlight knocked onto them, they will be burned and they will be dead. And if you keep the seeds like grains and rice like that, something like sugar or salt like that, if you spill them on the outdoor, they what they do is they will count them. That is some kind of they have number issues. They have to count how many grains or how many seeds are there, and they will stop there and they will count it. Staking them with sharpened wood or iron, hash, hawthorn, oak, or aspen wood. They should be staked in heart, stomach, or in mouth. So this is in movies. Mostly in movies, they show that if a person is a vampire, so how to most of them how they stop the vampire is they put a wood or iron on their mouth, on their stomach, or in their heart, and decapitating the head from the body, decapitation, and stuffing the severed head's mouth with garlic or a brick. So if a person if there's a dead body, if you thought that's a vampire, that body is the vampire, what they do was they put a garlic or a brick on their mouth, so that they won't be turned or they won't be attacked in future. So if there is any cure in vampire for cure the vampire, so in movies and in the folklore there are movies and literature, they show some ways in which one of the way is by the vampire who turned. So if there is a vampire and he turned me into a vampire also, and I haven't fed down, so if that vampire's blood is given to me, that vampire's blood is injected to me, I would be cured from that. So this is from the supernatural, like supernatural things. So there is no such. So if you, people who believe on these kinds, they do like these kinds of thing. And there are some who do exorcisms, because some believe that vampires are a demon creatures, and sometimes it show if you do exorcism and the vampires will go off. Some, you have to, if you have to cure them, you have to give the blood of the vampire which turned you, and with that blood only you can be, and you shouldn't be fed on anyone too. So I hope you like this video. So if you like this video, please give a thumbs up. And so this is going to be a series of videos. So next video will be about the werewolf. So each I will post each and every day about new kinds of monsters. So if you truly like this video, please give a thumbs up and please share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Don't forget to subscribe.